Welcome to the debate. Today, we're diving into the Geely EX5. It's this new all-electric SUV that's really made a splash, hasn't it? Bagging top-tier 5-star safety ratings from both Euro NCAP and ANCAP. You know, that's the European and Australian safety bodies. Getting both. Well, that's a pretty big statement about Geely's global ambitions.
Oh, it's a huge statement, especially, like you said, because this is Geely, under its own name, stepping into markets like the UK for the first time, even though, yeah, everyone knows they're the powerhouse behind Volvo, Polestar, and Lotus. The achievement itself, it's undeniable. But the real question, I think, is, how do we actually define this car? Is the EX5, with all this safety tech and its, pretty packed feature list, is it fundamentally a value-driven disruptor aiming to shake up the mid-sized EV crowd? Or is Geely genuinely trying to plant its flag as a premium competitor, ready to take on the established names on quality and tech?
Well, my position is really centered on the engineering, the sheer effort, the comprehensive tech and structural stuff they've put in, things that, let's be honest, cost serious money to develop. For me, that firmly puts the EX5 in the premium ballpark. It just happens to offer what looks like amazing value right now because of how they've priced it. I think we have to read that as premium intent.
Okay. And I'm coming at it more from, let's say, the showroom floor reality. The EX5 has to compete. It's defined by that fight against other, really aggressively priced Chinese newcomers. And its starting price is incredibly sharp. So for me, that combination, well, it screams value challenger. It feels designed, first and foremost, to disrupt the market on cost efficiency, maybe force everyone else to rethink their pricing.
Okay, but let's start with the foundation, right? Because that's where the real investment shows. The EX5 isn't just slapped onto some old, cheap platform. No. It uses the GEA architecture. That's Geely's new scalable electric first base. And maybe more importantly, it uses their exclusive cloverleaf energy dissipation structure. Now, this is apparently a very complex internal cage design, specifically engineered for top-level crash energy absorption. That shows a deep commitment to fundamental, expensive safety engineering. That's not cutting corners for market share. That's building a premium structure from the ground up.
Right. The GEA platform. I mean, doesn't the cost of developing something like that actually challenge the value play idea a bit? It sounds like, as you say, maybe they are playing the long game here.
Exactly. That's my whole point. They're playing the long game by embedding that premium DNA right from day one. And look at the features on the higher max trim. We're talking ventilated and massaging front seats, a 1,000-watt 16-speaker premium sound system, a big 14-inch head-up display. I mean, come on. These are things you usually find, gated behind much higher price tags on German or Swedish cars. That feels like a deliberate shot across the bows of the premium segment.
You always seem to zero in on that top-spec model when you talk about its aspirations. But market reality, well, it's built from the bottom up, isn't it? Look, the engineering, the features, yeah, they're impressive, I grant you that. But the EX5's identity, it's dictated by the arena it's actually fighting in. It has to go head-to-head with other Chinese brands like Leapmotor C10 and BYD Auto 2, brands that are, and the source material says this explicitly, carving out a reputation for value. This isn't a scrap with an Audi Q4 e-tron, not primarily. It's a battle over who gives you the most stuff for the least money.
But they are leveraging their established engineering lineage.
I get the lineage, I do. But the pricing, it tells a different story, doesn't it? That entry-level SE trim, starting just under £32,000, that puts it squarely against volume players, like the Skoda Elroq, the Kia EV3. That price point demands it be a segment-leading value proposition just to get noticed. And, okay, let's look at performance benchmarks. The 100-kilowatt max DC charging, the 6.9 seconds to 100 kilometers an hour. The source material itself calls these on a par with sector rivals, not leading the premium pack, which, is usually a key part of the premium promise.
Okay, fair point on the on-par performance. But let's talk about the battery choice itself, which you touched on. that 60.2 kilowatt-hour Aegis short-blade LFP battery.
Right. LFP, lithium iron phosphate. Cheaper, more durable.
Precisely. LFP. Yes, it has lower energy density compared to, say, the fancy NMC batteries some premium rivals use. But it excels in durability, safety, and crucially, yes, cost optimization. Now, you see that choice purely as evidence of a value focus. I see it as evidence of a focus on a high-quality, long-term product. Geely's prioritizing robustness and longevity, things that often get overlooked when everyone's just chasing headline acceleration figures. That feels like a sophisticated engineering choice, not just a cheap one.
Sophisticated, yes. But sophistication can absolutely serve disruption. It lets them manage cost effectively while still offering, what, an 8-year warranty? That's a huge confidence booster, enhances its value appeal, especially for buyers maybe a bit cautious about a new brand or EVs in general.
Okay, let's loop back to the bedrock of my argument, those safety ratings. The dual 5-star ratings Euro NCAP and ANCAP achieved just this year, April 2025. Combine that with the cloverleaf structure. That's concrete proof that safety is fundamental, non-negotiable. It echoes the Volvo approach, right? This deep investment. And the L2 ADAS suite, level 2 driver assistance with, 16 different functions? AEB, adaptive cruise, lane keeping, even emergency steering assist. That level of tech justifies the price point, I think, and pushes it way beyond a typical value offering. If they were just chasing the lowest price, they'd surely have streamlined the structure, maybe cut back on the sensors.
I see why you think that, but let me offer a different perspective. For a company making its own badge debut in a major, pretty skeptical market like the UK, 5-star safety isn't really proof of premium status anymore. It's basically the mandatory entry ticket. It's what you need to earn consumer trust. Safety is rapidly becoming, table stakes across the board, not some luxury differentiator. The real test for premium, I'd argue, is often that bespoke market refinement. And that's why the source material kind of pokes a hole in your argument.
What do you mean exactly?
Well, the material mentions the EX5 arriving in the UK is, quote, very similar to the Australian model. And it also notes that the feedback they got from Lotus Engineering, the experts in making cars handle brilliantly, that feedback is only feeding into future tuning. To me, that suggests the current focus is rapid, solid market entry, get a safe, well-priced product out globally first. The specific, tailored, premium refinement for, say, tricky British roads, that seems to be coming later. They prioritized robust value delivery now.
Okay, that's an interesting point about the timing of the Lotus input. But I'd argue that even consulting Lotus, even building that into the future plan, shows an intent that goes miles beyond what, say, Leapmotor or the other immediate rivals are likely doing. You keep focusing on the entry price, and fair enough, it's sharp. But let's look at the experience they're offering in that mid to high max trim. That huge 15.4-inch center screen, the digital instruments, the fancy ambient lighting, and those seats, heating, ventilation, massage. That's an aggressive push into what used to be purely premium territory.
The Max trim is feature-rich, absolutely. But aren't you just falling for the classic upsell strategy here? The starting point, the anchor for the brand in the UK, is the SE trim at £31,990. And that car is, it's competitive. 18-inch wheels, heated bits, standard stuff these days. The really premium features, they're deliberately kept for the top trim, which, yes, is packed, but still significantly undercuts the established European premium players.
So you think it's all just a brilliant marketing trick then?
I think it's market disruption via price elasticity. They draw you in with that tempting base price, then offer this aspirational package that's still kind of shocking value compared to a traditional premium badge. It's a value play because they're setting their price benchmark against Skoda and Kia, but dangling features that make you think about Audi and BMW. That is disruption.
But that ability to offer that feature density, that comes from Geely's global scale, their massive engineering foundation, their intellectual pedigree, if you like. The range is decent, WLTP 267 miles here in the UK. The acceleration is quick enough, it's 6.9 seconds, But crucially, it's the confidence they have in global expansion, showing off these world-class vehicles. And yes, the ownership of Volvo, Polestar, Lotus, that gives the EX5 an inherent credibility, a kind of background quality assurance that its immediate Chinese rivals just don't have yet. They're leveraging that whole heritage to enter as a high-quality global product, not just another cheap runabout.
That's a compelling narrative, the global heritage story, but I have to pull you back to the stated competitive set again. The source material explicitly puts it against Leapmotor C10 and BYD Atom 2. Now, if Geely genuinely saw this as a direct rival to, say, a BMW iX3, wouldn't they be benchmarking against it, advertising against it? Instead, they're acknowledging their fight is with the other newcomers, the ones building their reputation purely on packing in features for the lowest cost.
But why can't a vehicle disrupt by making expensive engineering affordable rather than just by being cheap? The X5 kind of forces us to rethink what premium even means in this electric age. It's a decent size, 4.6 meters long, 2.75 meter wheelbase. It offers space and features that genuinely do punch above its price class. Isn't that intrinsically a premium offering just sold at a value price?
And that intrinsic offering, that's exactly what defines its role as a disruptive value proposition. It's defined by its ability to bundle that L2 ADAS safety, that big boot 1,800 liters, while hitting that competitive price point. Its identity is forged right there, in the heat of market disruption. You seem determined to focus on who its parent company is, while maybe ignoring who its actual day-to-day rivals are on the forecourt. That's the immediate reality for a new brand.
And you always seem determined to find the cheapest angle, ignoring the impressive technological backbone that actually gives this car the right to compete globally in the first place.
Well, perhaps you're looking for a silver spoon pedigree, where I'm focused on the practical reality of what the customer sees. An incredibly well-equipped car that seriously undercuts the old guard.
Okay. So to sum up my side, I maintain the EX5's foundation, that GIA architecture, the non-negotiable dual 5-star safety, which feels very Volvo-esque in its priority, plus the inclusion of genuinely high-level luxury tech. It all points to a clear, long-term intent. Geely wants the EX5 judged as sophisticated, high quality, a serious long-term player. They're leveraging premium characteristics to offer what turns out to be exceptional value. For me, it's premium first, value second.
And my summary, the EX5 is really a textbook example of a value challenger done right. It disrupts by packaging those desirable, near-premium features and top-tier safety into a price structure that forces you to compare it with mid-market rivals, and yes, crucially, those other ambitious Chinese newcomers. Its success is going to hinge on that price point appeal, the warranty confidence, reinforcing its identity as a value disruptor that happens to be packed with goodies. It's value first, premium features is the hook.
Ultimately, I think we agree that Geely EX5 is a fascinating example of how that whole definition of value is shifting so quickly in the global EV market. Features that felt properly high-end just a few years ago, they're rapidly becoming just expected. It really blurs those old lines between premium and volume, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The whole situation really makes you question if that old distinction between pure value disruption and traditional premium competition is even all that relevant anymore. Or maybe it's just becoming much more fluid. It's definitely a space to keep watching closely.
Indeed it is. Well, thank you for joining us for this spirited discussion on just where the Geely EX5 fits in the market. We hope this back and forth has maybe shed some light on the complexities behind its launch and the bigger forces reshaping the whole EV landscape.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Make sure you follow the channel so you don't miss our next debate, where we'll no doubt find something else interesting to dissect in the automotive world. Until then, goodbye.